Space whales? Nope, rather deal with devils. Chapter 19, Fan Fiction by Azazyel. The equivalent of $2,500 was how much those 3 wolf Youkai were worth. 3 beings that could easily wreck an apartment building within minutes with their supernatural abilities, and their lives were worth less than a person made on average in a month. But regardless of the cheap bounty on the good news, my actual bounty hunting rank apparently leveled up or whatever, so I could now get information on stronger targets of interest. Or more specifically, I could be made sick to my stomach seeing the insane shit people were up to and why they had cash and treasures offered up for their lives to be reaped. I even recognized Kuroka in the back of the bounty board at the start of the S-ranked bounties. For her crime of killing her peerage king, her fellow peerage members who tried to stop her, and many other crimes performed in her escape, she was sentenced to death by the devil noble families that came together to offer a huge bounty on her. Funny enough, the Satans themselves didn't have a standing bounty on her. With a clap of my bounty book closing, I sighed and pinched the bridge of my nose as I closed my eyes and considered my options. I wanted Sona and Seraphol, especially, to be on my side, so I didn't mind taking Seraphol over to Madoka Magica as I myself wanted to see if Kyubi would grant me a wish. But who knows how Kyubi would react to us being dimensional if not universal anomalies. Where the hell can I get great amounts of power without some godly asshole smiting me for being foreign to the universe? I muttered as I pondered over my options, and for all the Western media of worlds with magic and the like that had such things, there was typically some kind of universal being that wouldn't take kindly to some asshole looting their special treasures and magic system. Hence why I didn't want to go to Full Metal Alchemist with Truth being there, and likewise why I didn't pop over to Dragon Ball and run over to Grand Elder Guru to get my potential unlocked or whatever. But there was one system of unlimited power that remained constant, that in a lot of universes didn't have some kind of universal guardian I could bypass with my CYOA given powers. Cultivation worlds, using spiritual and life energy, I could passively absorb to become a godly being. Sure, the worlds were filled with the absolute worst people, but just running over to grab a cultivation method wouldn't be so bad. I thought as I gave more mind to the thought, as I realized how actually feasible it was in reality, as cultivation of reality-bending magic would give me the edge I needed in order to kill Worm's entity Scion/Zion, that was the main target of my bounties that I needed to complete to earn my powers. A tap rang out on my door before a series of almost hesitating knocks came across my door, making me raise an eyebrow before my lips twitched up into a wry smile as I recalled how Momo offered. No, demanded I relax with her in the spa. And I was right. As I went and opened the door, I saw Momo out of the school uniform and some more casual clothes with her blouse exposing some cleavage and allowing me to see she was wearing a bikini under the blouse with how it stuck out. Hey. So let's get going. She said a bit awkwardly at first and then built up steam and took charge as her small hand grabbed my wrist, and she pulled me out of the room while looking down the hallway to avoid letting me see her blush. But the joke was on her. I could see how Momo had the tips of her ears turn red with her blush. Which was cute as all hell, honestly. Momo eventually got a hold of herself a few seconds later, so she wasn't pulling me, and we just walked more sedately toward the baths. Finally we entered, and I realized with Sona's peerage having only ladies there wasn't a changing section for men, and it seemed that Momo already knew about it as she only winked with a small flush as she pulled her blouse over her head, showing how the frilly 2-piece bikini she was wearing while I went to find a towel as I didn't have a swimsuit or whatever. After I acquired a towel and wrapped it around myself so I wasn't nude in front of Momo, as we didn't have that kind of relationship. At least yet. She waved for me to come over to a large metal door. Jake, this is the sauna, and we got some actual magical rocks used in the boiler to make steam, so it's even more relaxing than usual. Momo excitedly explained, and I nodded while wearing a wry smile at how her excitement had made her large breasts bounce as she pulled open the metal door that let out a flood of blinding steam. Once we entered the sauna, Momo's skimpy bikini wasn't much of a problem, as when the door closed and only the dim golden light from the sauna's single light was the only light, I couldn't see more than a couple of inches in front of me due to the dense steam that I was almost drinking with each breath I took. And actually, with my now supernatural constitution, the heat wasn't really that bad or distracting. Jake, the benches have vibrating massagers in them, Momo explained, not even a foot away from me, but I couldn't see her beyond a blur of her pale alabaster skin and the blue of her bikini. We, as in Sona's peerage, typically all come in here on Saturdays after school and relax. It's just so nice after sitting in class all day and then doing all the paperwork Sona has us do. Momo continued. I hummed in agreement as the padded seat I was on had those massaging balls in them that would vibrate and move around while pressing into your back. Then we shared a companionable silence for a bit before I heard Momo grunt in discomfort, and then I blinked as I saw the flash of blue of her bikini move through the air before it disappeared somehow, but her small words answered my confusion. Sorry, just not comfortable in the bikini as we always did this in towels or nude. She said wryly, and I couldn't help but chuckle as it was clear Momo tried to use the bikini to look good and show her assets. But yeah, even my own towel was getting a little constraining as I wrapped it around myself a bit too tightly and was feeling not too comfortable in the heat and humidity of the sauna. It's alright, Momo. I know you aren't an exhibitionist like Rias. I joked, and she snorted with her slapping my arm jokingly while I could all but feel her eye roll aimed at me. Oh, and I bet you would love that, wouldn't you, Jake? With how you live with so many girls in Sona's dorm. She teased, and after a moment of silence, I imagined the girls walking out of their dorm room sleepily, having forgotten to get dressed. Yup. That would certainly be a wonderful wake-up alarm with how you are my neighbor. I riposted, and she snorted at my frank answer. There was another comfortable silence before I sighed and finally, as I felt the wet towel pinching my stomach area, I adjusted myself, and Momo spoke up and made me freeze. So she started before pausing and taking a breath, with her following sentence coming out kinda rushed. You slept with Lady Leviathan and Sona. Oh, now this was an awkward conversation coming.